You're listening to Kids Ministry Answers from Stuff You Can Use, from Stuff You Can Use, from StuffYouCanUse.org.
Welcome to Kids Ministry Answers. My name is Jason.
And my name is Linda. And this is the podcast where you ask the questions and we help you find the answers.
All right, Linda. Well, I think to start off today, to kind of lead us into what we're going to be talking about, we should talk about things we've said yes to just because our kids were involved in it. I know this can be a tricky one. But yeah, things we've said yes to. We're both parents of boys, and
2 boys.
There's probably a lot of
Each.
stuff that we've said yes to because our kids are involved in it. But maybe just one thing that you can think of that you said yes to just because your kids were involved in it.
Yeah, honestly, I have been roped into many things because my children were involved. I don't know, schools especially just know how to get you. So I think one of the biggest things that I volunteered for that I don't regret because it was a good experience, but it did feel like a con, is I was one of the chaperones for the 5th grade field trip to Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, and I'm all the way over here on the West Coast. So it's a bit of a commitment, and it was a big field trip. And the way that they conned us, this is why I say it's a con, is they say, every parent wants to be on this trip. They want to go on this trip. So instead of asking for signups, we're going to do a lottery. So you have to be selected to go.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
So it made it into a prestigious situation.
It's that scarcity thing, right?
Yeah.
So I was like,
and now you want to win.
Exactly. So. If there was a sign-up sheet, I probably wouldn't have signed up. But because they said there was a lottery, I'm like, is there something about this trip that I don't know that I probably should be involved in? Maybe it would be good for me to be there near my kid to experience these things together.
So you were the person that they were thinking of when they did
exactly.
this.
They're like, we got you.
The exact person.
So I signed up. I submitted my name for the lottery, and then I got this nice email that said, "You've been selected to be a chaperone." And I was like, "Yay!"
You were probably the only one.
Exactly, me and 14 other suckers. And then so I ran into one of the other moms, and I was so proud. I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna chaperone."
We got selected. All right.
And then this other mom was like, "Oh, you got selected to pay $2,000 out of pocket to chaperone a bunch of 5th graders. You're so lucky." And I was like,
good for you.
What have I done?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What a great system. Something we need to think about as ministry leaders.
That is honestly like a good tool to use. It's a great example of a way. Just cheat.
There's
if you
a lottery.
Need to.
There's a lottery.
Yeah, there's a lottery.
Yeah.
It'll be great. And guess what? We selected all of you. Somehow the lottery selected all of you.
You didn't even submit your name, but somehow you were selected.
Yes.
What about you, Jason? How did you say yes to something? Because
it's not really a unique situation. It's definitely not like a lottery situation like you shared or a Valley Forge trip. Mine's a little more like normal. So I decided to coach my son Isaiah's soccer team. I don't do it very much, even though I am a sports guy because of time commitment and stuff.
Sure.
But I did decide one time to coach Isaiah in soccer when he was about 6 or 7 years old.
Now, did they get Isaiah to ask you?
I'm pretty sure he was involved in it. Like, come on, Dad, you can do it.
You should do it.
Yeah. So I decided to do it. Now, like, if it would have been baseball, basketball, football, like I would have been like 100%. But soccer is the sport I know the least about. So it's not the one I ever thought I would jump into coaching. And on top of that, Shepard, our youngest, was like very, very young, like a baby at the time. And so I had to bring him along for a lot of the games and practices, so much that they were calling him Coach Baby by the end of the season because he was hanging out so much with us. But I was super apprehensive about saying yes. Maybe you're the same way about the Valley Forge trip, but in the end, it really did turn out being like a very gratifying, life-giving, great thing.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's the thing is when you say yes to something your kids are involved in, you hardly ever regret it, right? You're happy for the experience. You're happy that you got to spend time with your kids, and you're happy that you were able to help in whatever way you could. So it might have started out as a little bit of a chore or maybe even a trick, but ultimately it is a rewarding experience in the end.
Yes, yes. And I know with soccer, it's like the practices were basically just getting the kids to run around as much as they could and get their energy out for the
There you
parents.
go.
But I still did enjoy it, even though it was glorified babysitting at some
Sure.
points.
Yes.
So yeah, this sets up kind of a roundabout way, sets up our question for today.
Yes.
So let's check it out.
Hey there, this is Katie. I'm a kids ministry director in the Bay Area, California. And one of the things that we've been trying to figure out is how we can increase parent involvement with volunteering in kids ministry. I feel like because Sunday is one of the days that parents get 1 hour away from their kids, that they're less likely to want to volunteer in kids ministry. But what would you guys suggest a way for us to kind of make it exciting, or the language that we could use to really try to get some of our parents more involved with volunteering in kids ministry? Thanks so much.
Yeah, that
Wow.
1 hour break from my kids is so
Yes.
real. Like we feel that
yeah.
as parents.
Totally, 100%. And this is such a great question for so many reasons. I think it's probably one of the hardest things to do in Kids Min is to make
Sure.
the ask for parents to be volunteers and be involved in your ministry, because I think it fills our minds with all the reasons why they could say no, especially
Right.
if we're parents ourselves. Like
Right.
we think of all the reasons that are coming back at us for like why they can't do it or don't want to do it, you know?
Oh, 100%. The number of times I've approached a parent to ask them to help out in any capacity in ministry, it always starts off with like a preemptive apology, like,
Yes.
oh, I know you don't have a lot of time, and I know that you want to be in the worship service, and I know that you already volunteered a lot at your old church, and I know you've been burned by volunteering before. Like you kind of start out with all of these things of like,
I know
but
you need a
could
break from your
still?
kids. I do too.
Yes. And the thing is, it is valid to assume these things, right? Because it might be true. And maybe most of the time parents really just do want that peace of mind to be separated from their kids for just a little bit, where they don't have to worry about what the kids are up to, and they feel like their kids are safe. Now they can concentrate on their own spiritual needs being met and filled. And that
Right.
is necessary as well. But I think the reality of it is that kids ministry will fall apart without parent involvement, because
Exactly.
if parents don't personally experience how much labor, albeit a labor of love, goes into sustaining and growing your ministry, it's really easy for them to feel apathetic or indifferent about it. And then
Yeah.
it becomes easy for them to not prioritize kids ministry. It's easy for them to shift kids around and leave at the slightest inconvenience, but once they are involved in even the smallest way, even if it's once a month, they're more invested in wanting your ministry to do well and to be a part of that success. So I think that's a really important question. And I think that's something that we really should do better about asking parents and getting their buy-in.
Yeah. I mean, it's the old cliche, but like the parents are with the kids more than you are.
Absolutely.
And so you want your ministry to extend into the home. And it's
Mhm.
really imperative that the parents know what's going on in your ministry in order
Right.
for that to happen.
Right. So then it's not just like an exchange of services, like, hey, we
Right.
do this for you and you receive it, but it's like we're actually building this community together. And I think that's very important.
So to tackle this very big question, we invited our good friend and kids ministry leader extraordinaire, Kegan DeWitt.
Kegan.
And he is going to share some of his tips with us. So let's check it out. Well, we are here with Kegan DeWitt. Kegan,
Hi,
we are
Kegan.
so happy that you're here with us today. And he's our very great guest who has a lot of experience in Kids Min and all kinds of ministry. And so, Kegan, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I grew up in Owensboro, Kentucky, and been able to do ministry here in my hometown for the last 12 years, which is exciting. It's a unique flavor because sometimes you may have somebody show up to church for the first time and they're like, oh, this is a new guest. I'm like, no, it's not. I went to high school with them. And so it's great just to be able to kind of have that familiarity with our team and just with any guests that may come in and things like that. So it's really cool to be able to do stuff in your hometown. met my wife in Nicaragua, and so we've been married for about 12 years as well. And then we have a 9-year-old son named Cruz, who is awesome. It's really cool to be able to do kids ministry for your kids. It's just a different mindset, and prepping is different. Like the way viewing things through their eyes is really cool. So so it's really cool. I've been loving doing kids ministry, and then I also get to serve as a growth strategist, which is fun too, as part of the Grow Stuff You Can Use team.
Yeah, Jason and I both also do kidsmen with our kids. And I don't know about you, Jason, but I really love it. I love being able to do ministry with my kids. It can be challenging because a lot of times they're just like, Mom. But other times it's super fun to kind of watch them grow and to be a part of that so actively.
Yeah, I totally agree. And doing ministry in your hometown, man, I didn't know that about you. That's so interesting too.
Yeah, Owensboro is one of those towns that like you can't wait to get away, but as soon as you get away, you can't wait to come back type deal. And so
Okay.
it's one of those things. And so it's unique. It's just big enough to have everything you need, but not any bigger to give you anything extra. So you have like Target, Walmart, stuff like that. But if you're going to a mall that of any substance, then you need to go out of town. So but yeah.
Very cool,
That's
man.
fun.
Very cool. Well, hey, if you've seen anything from Kegan, you know that he is an amazing at what he does in terms of kids ministry. And so you're going to share with us today 5 tips for recruiting parent volunteers. So Kegan, where do you want to start?
Yeah, we'll start off with number 1. So everybody wants to know when it comes to kids ministry, like what's the secret sauce? What's the thing that you have to do that is just going to draw all these people in? And unfortunately, that's not in one of my tips. So you're still going to have to kind of figure it out for your own context. But I'm just going to give you some ideas as to what might be helpful. Just kind of trying to figure out your method of what actually recruits well and what speaks well to the people in your church and things like that. So the first thing that I like to do is you have to learn how to sell your ministry. And so you need to be able to figure out what is going to be that kind of connecting point that's going to speak to the heart of people, speak to them and kind of get them up and moving and things like that. And then also you need to know how and why, like what's your vision, what's your approach to discipleship. All of those kind of things are really going to matter, because when you're trying to sell it to somebody, if you're just fumbling through it and don't have a clear vision of what you're trying to accomplish or any of those things, it's going to sound like something people are like, well, I'll kind of commit to that, but I'm not really sure what it's going to look like, because the person that's trying to tell me what it's supposed to look like doesn't really know either. And so you really, even if you have to sit in your office and just practice it, or like you're practicing like your speech before like a pregame deal, like, hey, here's how we're going to do this. This is how we're going to accomplish it. And this is kind of your part of that puzzle. That's really important in doing that. And I'm as guilty as anybody, because we get excited of, okay, somebody new's coming on board. We just can't wait to get them plugged in. We already know where they're going to fit. But sometimes we just need to like hear their story, hear how they may fit in a different spot than what we actually think. But it was probably, we're doing confession time. It was probably a good 10 years before I realized like I had never told our team what our actual vision of the why behind why we do kids ministry. It was more of like, hey, we're just trying to minister to these kids. We want kids to get connected in small groups and things. But I never really said like, here's how we accomplish that. I knew it because I've been doing it for 10, 12 years, but our team had no clue. And so when I finally rolled that out to them, they're like, oh, wow, that makes a lot of sense as to why we're doing things how we do them. And so, so they buy in a little bit more when they actually know what's going on. Imagine that, right?
I love that this is like the first point that you're making, Kegan, because I think when you think about recruiting parents, it's like, let's just do a desperate plea and like, please help us. We need help.
Feel sorry for us, please.
Yeah. And what you're doing is like, you start from a much more confident place. Like, this has value in your family. This has value in our community. And I want you to know that. Not only that, but I want you to be a part of it. So understanding the hows and the whys, it just lets you be a lot more confident in asking these people to help you out and volunteer, right?
Yeah, totally. And then as you're trying to kind of share vision with them, what we recently did in our training back in September was we gave them all new volunteer shirts. And so on the front, it has like Owensboro Christian Kids. On the back, it says every kid matters. But then we allowed our volunteers to pick the color we chose the branding colors, but they were able to pick between those colors of that. And the idea was to tell our church, hey, I want you to wear this shirt when you volunteer. So then when you're when you're worshiping in the church, then everybody's able to see like, okay, that's kids ministry doing stuff. Those kids serving kids ministry. And then I finally had a volunteer. He told me after, I don't know, it's 2 or 3 weeks, 4 weeks after that, he said, Kegan, I finally saw what you're trying to tell us about during the meeting. He said, I looked across the whole worship center and I saw all kinds of shirts with a back facing to me, every kid matters. And they said that was really cool to see a church that has shirts all over the worship center that says every kid matters on the back with multicolor to where they're fun, all that. He said it really sold the vision to the rest of the church that may never even go back in the kids ministry what Owensboro Christian was about in regards to kids ministry. So that's pretty cool to see them kind of get that aha moment of
that is really cool. I love that. And I love this approach because a lot of times as kids directors, as kids volunteers, we approach parents with kind of like this apologetic posture. Like, right. I don't want to disrupt your schedule. I don't want to make you do more than just drop off your child. But I think it would be better if we just came in with that assumption that the kids are important to the parents, even more so than they are to us, obviously, right? So what if we assume that they want to be involved? They want to be a part of the team. They just don't know how. And we do what you said about like reminding them that there's value in this. Like we don't really have to do the hard sell, right? We can practice our pitch, be really calm about this is why this is important. And we think this will be a really big value add for not just you, but for our ministry and just, get them to get the buy-in. I think that's really wonderful. So yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, and like, what's the worst thing that can happen? They're going to say no, and then we're in the same spot where if they didn't. So
right.
But at least now they're aware there's a need. So maybe they tell somebody else about it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So in terms of selling your ministry, is there like events that we can do that help you sell your ministry to parents?
Yeah. So we actually host called an open house where on a Sunday night, usually right as the school year kicks off, kind of promotion Sunday, we partner with that. But we invite all the parents to come back and basically just kind of sit through what we call like a mock Sunday type deal. So sometimes the parents, they just drop them off in class and then they just go and do their thing and then we do our thing, but they don't ever know what's actually happening back there. And so we have them come into the classroom just like they would check in. They sit with their kids. They get to meet their small group leader there. And then we then take them all into our kids worship area. And so depending on the size of your church, you may have to do different shifts of this, like maybe preschool version or elementary, just to kind of make it work capacity wise and not fire codes and all that. But yeah, we bring them in, we do a worship. Kids are doing the worship that they already know. Just approach it, pick your best songs, like most high energy that your kids are going to participate with. Because you're trying to sell this a little bit. So don't just pick the ones that are like, Oceans that goes along for 8.5 minutes and like the kids are not engaged or whatever that might be.
The blessing, let's go.
Yeah. So yeah, choose wisely on that side of things. But then we just have them come back to the classrooms after that. They're able just to kind of get to know the small group leaders a little bit more rather than that pick up, drop off. Hey, how you doing? That quick thing. They're able to kind of get to know each other where they work. Maybe they have connections, stuff like that. And so I actually had a guy, his name was Terry. He came to our open house and said, well, I didn't realize that this is what you all did back here. He said, I've been going to church here for years. Memphis, our kid, has been back here for years as well, but I never knew what actually went on. And I've always kind of wondered what went on. But then as a result of that, he's like, if this is all that y'all do, he said, I thought it was a lot more intimidating than that. And he said, so I can do that. And so him and his wife are rock stars when it comes to volunteering, like we did the Grow series Christmas Vacation. And Terry showed up with a Hawaiian shirt. He had a bucket hat on. He had the sunscreen on the nose, and like he was all in. But I mean, that was somebody that was in our congregation that just wasn't on my radar. That was kind of picked up and just kind of. After seeing what we did, he said, you know what? That's something I want to do too. And so they're awesome. Yeah. So you just never know what's out there as you kind of just invite and kind of just showcase what you're doing back there.
Yeah. That's super fun.
Yeah. Very cool. I love it because it's like, you're not only being confident about what you're doing, this has value. It also, you're like giving them a sneak peek at what it really looks like. They might have all these misconceptions of what it actually is until they see it for themselves. And that makes it a much like easier sell for them to volunteer into it.
Yeah.
So great. Number 1, sell your ministry. Love it. So what is the number 2 thing we need to think about when it comes to recruiting parents for volunteers?
Yeah, I think the next one is use your tools. And so this can be great if you're going into like a new ministry and you don't know anybody, because sometimes that's the case. Like, not all of us have the luxury of doing ministry in our hometown like I do. I already know a lot of people, a lot of connections there with that, just based on growing up here. But sometimes maybe you're moving to a new city and you're trying to figure out, like, okay, I don't know anybody in this whole church other than the staff. And they're not helping me get volunteers because they need them just as much, right? And so use the tools that you have. So what I like to do is I got really good at using like our church database. And so we utilize Planning Center. So what I do is I went in and like ran check-in reports to be able to figure out like what kids are showing up. Like, so then you kind of, start seeing trends of consistency there with that. What I like to do is I like to sell it to those parents and saying, hey, like, one, I love that you're here consistently in our church every week. Like, that's a big value that we would like to have within our volunteers of kids ministry. But then also, like, we want to help replicate and make more kids that are good Christian kids like your kids are. And so, like, could you come and help our team out that way too? So maybe it's a little salesy in the aspect of like buttering them up and complimenting them, but like also people really like to be told like, hey, you're doing a good job at this parenting thing. Because a lot of times we don't feel like that all the time. And so hearing that is nice. And then also hearing somebody else call that out in you, it's like, hey, y'all are doing a great job with your child. And like, I would love for you to help me do this with other kids as well. And so kind of inviting them into the fold that way is great. And then also, I don't know if you know this, but you can actually, so like here in our town, there is a specific like school district email address. And so what I do is I search our church database based on the like end tag of the email address. So it's like at da 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 da. And so then all of your teachers, if they put their school email address down, they will pop up on your church database. And so you can go, people that are already good with kids, they do it for a living. You know now, okay, so and so works in the school system, so they may be more inclined to serve along kids. And so that's kind of one of the ways that I like to kind of pull teachers in as well, because they're confident in it, like they're not intimidated by kids at all, which is always great. And so I like to pull them in that way as well. And so consistency with parents that are doing a good job with their kids, and then trying to find educators that are naturally gifted in that area are kind of ways that I like to use my tools. And then sometimes they don't know how you knew that they were a teacher, and it's like, I've just got my ways. And so don't reveal all your secrets always. The bad thing is, if any of our volunteers are going to listen to this, they're like, oh no, like we know all the tips and tricks.
The secret's out.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I mean, I love this, man. I think it's so cool. I know you're a sports guy too. So this sounds like you're getting like a scouting report on the people that you want to include in your ministry,
right,
which is so, like, I've never really thought of that before. But using these tools that you have, you can really do that to see if someone is going to be a fit for your ministry. You know what I mean? Right.
And you can pick whoever you want. Make sure you're picking the people that show up on time and the ones that are there early. Like, we all know that feeling when you're standing there 5 minutes before service starts and all your classrooms are empty because your volunteers aren't there yet. Go get the people that are there early. Like, they're prompt. You know, the people that are also rolling in 20 minutes after service starts, and you know those people too. So like, maybe if you're getting those people, you tell them to attend the first service and serve the second, because you already know they're going to be there. So, make sure they're on time. That's just a less headache that helps you out too in the front end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think from my experience, I have tried to reach out to teachers, and a lot of the feedback that I got from them was, listen, I work with kids all week. I just need a break from the kids. And so I get that a lot, to which I think we'll probably talk about this a little later. It's like, doesn't mean we need you to volunteer full time, but it would be so great to have you involved in some capacity, because you know how to work with kids. You understand child psychology. You know, like, what kind of learning motivations work for kids. And it would be really helpful, because a lot of the volunteers actually don't have that background. Like, a lot of our leaders are there because they're passionate about serving kids and they just want to serve God through this way. And it'd be really helpful to learn alongside educators in that way too. So I really like that tip.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are such great things to think about because I don't know that many people in KidsMin would ever think about using these tools or even know that they have them at their disposal. So this is a great reminder for some. Maybe some are thinking about this for the first time. So these are awesome tools to use if you haven't yet used them like Kegan has been using them. So, all right. So sure. That's number 2. Use the tools you have at your disposal. Kegan, what is the number 3 thing when it comes to recruiting parent volunteers?
All right. So the next one I have is go where they are. And so as hard as it is sometimes, Sundays you have to get out of like the kids ministry area because everybody that already knows back there, they know you need volunteers because they see it every week. They see when a teacher's not there. So no matter what it is, maybe you're showing up really early. Maybe you're showing up at like a Bible study on a Tuesday night. Maybe it's a senior adult dinner or something on a Thursday night. Sometimes you have to get out of the kids area on Sunday mornings throughout the week and just find where other people are. And so no matter what that might be, we've had our senior adult lady is awesome. And the director of that, she does an amazing job with really wanting us to showcase all of our ministries all the time, be it student ministry, be it kids ministry, rec, any of that kind of stuff, just to those, because a lot of those people don't have any idea what's going on. And a really cool thing that kind of stemmed out of that was, most of the senior adults, they said, you know what, I've already done that. Like I've already served my time. I've already led Sunday school for 30 years.
Served my time.
I'm done, right? I'm over it. And so, but they still want to be able to help in some way, but they're like, I just can't do the classroom anymore. I'm like, that's fine. We actually had a group of widows. And so they came in and do all of our curriculum prep for us. And so it was really cool. That was just a way for them to connect during the week. So they'd come in weekly and do it, even to the point where like one lady was having surgery on her foot and wasn't able to actually come in because she couldn't drive. But one of the other ladies went and picked her up because that value, that fellowship of them doing that time during the week was just so important to them to be able to kind of hang out and spend time together. And so there's variety, like you said, Linda, earlier, there's tons of ways that we can get people connected that sometimes you just have to think outside the box. Like, yeah, you just never know what it might be, and kind of going where they are, you can see like, okay, you know what? Like I could see where this could be something valuable to our team. And then you can kind of be creative with that as well. And so, also I really like going out, and as a dad myself, I like going out and getting the dads because we divide our small groups up based on like grade and then gender as well, just to kind of keep the numbers low. And so like 3rd grade boys, and I'm a father of one of them in that ministry. It is the hardest group because there's just a lot of energy, and in our church there's a lot of them, and so it's the hardest one. But going out and getting dads to help lead those small groups with the boys it's been so great for us because one, I think it's great for boys to be able to see themselves in a Christian man. Sometimes it's like, oh well, at least in kids ministry, well, following Jesus is just, that's something that I don't see my dad doing. And so they're able to see a good, strong Christian man doing that well and leading it and teaching them that. That's really, really cool to be able to see them do that. So the way I went and did it was I joined the church league softball team. And so there was a point where I had the entire softball team serving in kids ministry because I was like, guys, if you can teach a team, like you can coach or you can lead a small group. And so it was great. Like I was like, this is exactly like coaching, except you're just teaching kids Jesus rather than the sport. And so it was really, really cool to be able to do that. But then also I really like to try to see where every child can be represented by seeing somebody that looks like them in our ministry. And so even in our 4th and 5th grade group, it was really cool because there was a point where we had a high schooler leading, and then we had a 20-something leading, a 30, 40, 50, 60, all the way up to 70-year-olds leading. So there was somebody in every different age bracket leading in that ministry, showing that like following Jesus is a lifelong thing. It's not something you just do when you're a kid. It's not something just you do when you're an adult. But it's really cool just to be able to see just different demographics and age groups and all that within our ministry. So I really try to make sure we cover all of our bases on that. So when a new family shows up, they don't feel out of place. They feel exactly like, hey, there's somebody else that looks just like me serving in the kids ministry as well. So it's really cool to be able to kind of see themselves doing that.
Yeah, I love that because it's really important to identify the gaps in your ministry and actually be humble enough to say, like, I can't do this part. And then you go out and find the people who can actually fill those needs. And I love that. And a lot of times it's like youth volunteers, but, but also you can find like different kinds of parent volunteers. And this is like also as a mom of, we all have boys here. This is amazing. As a mom of boys, like, I'm not saying that you have to have boys to understand boys because, you don't. But also, like, there are parents who have experience with like a rambunctious group of boys that other parents won't. And so, leaning into that, like, hey, you're kind of accustomed to this. Like, you would be really great at doing XYZ for us. And that's like a really like you mentioned earlier, something about like affirming them in the things that they're gifted at, but also like, hey, help us with the thing that you're good at.
Yeah. And I think it's good to not even shy away from telling them like, hey, this is a really hard group. Because sometimes people want to come in, they want the challenge.
Sometimes
they don't
like
want
that.
the easy
they're
one.
like, I can do this.
Oh, I will tame those. Like, I will tame those children. Like, and so it's really good to give them the challenge. Like, they'll take it and run with it. Because I even told one guy the other day, I was like, he had this third grade group last year. He teaches second grade for me, and he was like, I was like, Mr. Tony, like, I've got a gap here if you wanted to jump up with those third grade boys group. And he's like, well, let me just think about it. And so like, but sometimes they like the challenge. Sometimes you're like, hey, I'm just offering. If you don't want to jump up with them, that's fine. But yeah, sometimes some people love the challenge, love to get after it and just play with the kids, really hands-on, all the sports, whatever it might be. Like, hey, we've got to be rowdy at first just to kind of get them to settle in and feel comfortable and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so, and I'll say something too, is like there's a reason why parents make such good volunteers is because parents have been through so much with their own children that not a lot phases them. Yes. Right. Can I get an amen, right? So not a lot phases them. There's not much we haven't seen. Yeah. There's like things that kids would do that like some of my other like younger teachers, like they would just like freak out and be like, oh no, what do we do? And I'm just like, it's fine.
Yeah.
So there is like a calm they bring. Like, right, exactly. Like, this is an everyday occurrence. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I love this. So go where they are is really like a twofold thing. It's not only in hand to the sky. I've definitely been the one who has just expected, parents to come to me where I'm at, like kids events or, anything where we're doing kids instead of going to where they are at physically, like you said with the softball team. But it's also taking into account like their life stage, what life stage they're in and where they're at in their actual life too. So it's kind of a twofold thing, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, cool, Kegan. Thank you so much. So number 3 was go where they are. What is the number 4 tip that you would give in terms of recruiting parent volunteers?
Yeah, so my dad is in insurance sales. And so I always like to try to learn tips and tricks from other trades and other just industries and things. And so what he does is after he makes a sale, so after he gets a new volunteer, a new client, I use it as then when I get a new volunteer, I like to ask them like, hey, who's 2 or 3 people that you think could be a really good fit within our ministry as well? And I also like tell them like, hey, tell me right now, but then also I want to ask you in 6 months as well, like who would fit good after you really know what we're trying to do and trying to accomplish. Because a lot of the times, like they'll give you somebody right off the bat and you're like, they're not a good fit. Like, and then they realize 6 months down the road, yeah, you know what? They really weren't a great fit in that setting and things. And so just always being recruiting. That's the best part about kids ministry, but the worst part about kids ministry as well. Yes. Is you always have to be going after
ABR.
As soon as you get somebody else, as soon as you get somebody to come in and help fill a spot, guess what? Somebody else is going to step out. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully you're retaining well. But like usually that's the case. Like as soon as you're bringing somebody else is seeing new people come on. They're like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'm not needed as much right now in this season. And so they think that they can step off too, which is fine. But what I like to do is I'm always recruiting. I just always have to be you. Because as soon as you don't, you're behind and then you're trying to play catch up. And that's a lot harder, not as desirable because then you're having to you're really just taking kind of whatever and not being able to be as picky and place people as well with giftings and things. And so, always be recruiting. But what I like to do is when it comes to recruiting, I'll get those people's names in And then what I will do is I'll tell them like, hey, so-and-so recommended you might be interested in our kids ministry team. That's a really good way. Again, if you're newer to your church, like you may not know everybody, or maybe if you're working in a really large church and you just don't know everybody because of that as well. It really helps spread your network out a lot more. And so when they give you those names, you can say, hey, Jason gave me your name that you might be interested in serving in kids ministry. Even if you want to like partner with them. Yeah, Jason, who you got, man? Tell me what you got. And so, yeah, they're able to say like, hey, it kind of gives us an on-ramp to talk to them versus just kind of cold calling in a sense. You still are, but like it feels not as different. So just say, hey, so-and-so said you'd be awesome on our team. I'd love to have a conversation. And then goes back to tip number 1 that we talked about is, hey, I want to just tell you kind of what we're doing. And even if they don't jump on board with the team, that's just one more person that now has the vision of what our kids ministry does at our church, to be able to kind of tell somebody that they're just inviting in the community to come to church and things like that. And so, so I like to recruit. Typically, I recruit in the spring. And so I like to recruit spring, let them test drive during the summer, kind of shadowing and all that kind of stuff. And then come the fall, I like to let them that's when they can take off. So there's really a slow process where they feel really confident by the time they take their own small groups and go that way. So that's kind of my little flow of doing that all the time.
I love this tip a lot. And I don't know, Kegan, if you experienced this, because I was once in ABR mode and I found that people tended to avoid me because they're like, oh, if Linda approaches you, you know what's coming. Yep. So I like that this referral system kind of does it a little bit more passively than like, hi, I just met you, but can you join our ministry? And also even asking the people who are doing the referring, like, oh, could you like tell me a little bit about them? Like, what are some things that you think they're gifted at? Again, going back to acknowledging the giftedness in others. But maybe when you approach them, you can kind of feel them out to be like, hey, so-and-so told me that you're like really great at this thing. Like, I was wondering like if you'd like to volunteer a little bit to help us with this other thing that connects to that, you know, and just like feel it out instead of what I used to do, which is like, oh my gosh, hi, yes, Kidsman, now.
You don't know me, but you want to come sign your life away to work with me. Yeah.
I mean, it's like the ultimate cliche is like your people are your best resource. Mm-hmm. But in this term, like it really is true. Like the more you like lean into the people and who they know, especially what you talked about in terms of waiting, till later and then coming back with some names. I think that was so good to hear because those people who have been in your ministry the longest, they're going to know the other people that will fit the best. And it takes the weight off of you to getting to know all these new people because you have those people in your ministry who have been there the longest, who are out there searching for people too. So you can be asking them like every couple weeks, like, hey, have you met anybody new who would be awesome, you think, in our ministry? And those are probably going to be like your best resources for getting parent
and then you can partner them as the shadowing person. Like, hey, I want you to shadow the person you already know, and then they can teach you how to do things too. And so it's really,
And that ties into the onboarding thing you were saying earlier about how you want to get buy-in from your volunteers, because then once your volunteers know what you're going for, then they're not only just giving you those names when you ask for them, but they're also on the lookout. And so they might come up to you later and be like, hey, I know you were looking for someone to help with snacks, and this person would be awesome for that, and that's like takes a little load off too, because now you have this shared vision. So I love that.
Yeah, and they'll also tell you like what they're not good at too. Like,
absolutely,
hey,
they're like,
she would be great at snacks, but don't put her in a classroom. Like, so that's nice too. You already got the filters going and everything. It's great.
Yeah. You got like a real scouting report to a real person. That's awesome. So yes, build a good referral system. That is a great tip. So Kegan, what is your last number 5 tip for recruiting parent volunteers?
So full disclosure, I am bad at hard conversations, which means sometimes telling people like, hey, I don't think you're a good fit. So like, I'm not great at those. So this is my little buffer of how to avoid those slightly. And so what I like to do is start with like low commitment opportunities. And so that could be like a Christmas event. It could be Vacation Bible School, where it's just kind of a week little intensive type deal where you're getting large batches of volunteers coming in. But then throughout the week, you can kind of just see and evaluate like, hey, so-and-so's really good at this. Like you can tell they're passionate about it. You can tell they care about it. You can tell they love being around the kids. And that's then where you can kind of make them ask the next step. Like, hey, would you like joining our team on Sunday morning? Like, one of my best friends, I met him at VBS. Like, he was one of our volunteers for VBS. I said, hey, man, I think you and me are very similar in personalities and things. Like, would you mind coming on the team? And so he's like, yeah, but my wife's coming too. I was like, deal. Like, I'll take both of you. Yeah.
Please.
And she was a teacher, so it's even better. And so, but it was through that, like, I could say, hey, like, just getting to know people, like, hey, you work in the school system, or you work at the Boys and Girls Club, or whatever that might be, and just being able to feel people out through that, but also kind of seeing them in that basically a Sunday morning environment, only maybe in an hour at a Christmas event running a game, or maybe at the 3 hours a day at VBS during the week. And so kind of pulling as many people into those opportunities that you can, and then really being able to kind of filter out and really pick the best of them, and really have the all-star team on Sunday mornings that's going to be your top-notch people that are passionate about it, that care about it, that are going to dress up like Terry does, or whatever you might be doing, and really kind of pull those people in. So then it's not as awkward, because you're not just inviting everybody in and then having to have the conversation like, I don't know if you're the right fit here, or try to jockey people around all the time to finally find the right fit. You can already kind of tell and see what they do. And what we do on our like VBS volunteer sign up sheet is we ask them what age groups they like. We don't let them pick like individual grades, but it's more like younger kids, like preschool through first grade, or older kids like second through fifth grade. And so you can already kind of get people's niche that way by letting them pick that. And then you can kind of see just your bank of ideas volunteer wise, where they might want to serve as well in the future, if you can kind of tell they do a good job with that group.
I like this because it gives both of you a little bit of an exit strategy in case they feel themselves that they're not a good fit for this. And you don't have to be the one to be like, okay, we don't need you anymore, right? And I think another thing we can probably think about is if you want them to volunteer on Sundays, you kind of put them in more of like infrequent rotations. So they're not there every week, but they're there like once a month maybe to start and see how they acclimate. Yeah.
That's fully ease them into it. And then one thing I always like, because I'm pretty much a stickler when it comes to like how often people serve, which it works well because our church has like 3 services on the weekend, so there's opportunities to sit and serve and all that. But what I always tell them is, hey, if you're already going to be at church, I would love for you just to serve. So I like encourage them to serve at least every other week or every week. But I also give them the out that anytime they need off, they're off. Like no questions asked. You don't have to. I like when you tell me ahead of time, right? Because I can prep a little bit. But like also like, hey, if you just need to be off, you always have the opportunity to be off too. So like, don't feel like when you tell them, hey, we love for you to serve every week, that they would say no to that, because they might not. Knowing that they can be out when they need to be out, a lot of them sign up a majority of the time.
Yeah, and telling them those things ahead of time actually helps them feel a little bit more comfortable about signing up. But like, I don't have to be locked in constantly,
or
right?
hitting decline and not feeling guilty on the request.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not going to be mad. I told you ahead of time you're good to go. So no worries, no hard feelings on any of that.
Yeah, with this one, it's kind of like I feel a little bit of the balance of it, because I think you're right. Like we do want them to come in at a place where they feel comfortable and they can kind of ease into it. But on the other side, you do want them to feel like what they're doing is like purposeful, like it has some kind of purpose. You don't want them feeling like they're just filling a spot. They're like, what am I even doing here? So maybe you can speak to that a little bit more. And you kind of did, talking about like events they could be involved in. Maybe VBS is a good example of that. You want it to have purpose and some weight, but like you said, with being able to decline when they need to, you also want some freedom there to be able to kind of ease into it and not just throw them right away. To
have them in charge of a small group immediately.
Yeah,
so
that's where like I like to test
there.
them. Yeah, I like to test them out and giving them like, maybe you're already aware of them, kind of, hey, so-and-so could be good at this. And then, but give them, instead of maybe making them in charge of security at the kids event or whatever, maybe you're actually putting them in charge of a kid's activity at the event. Like, okay, I really want to see how you interact with kids and how you do. Because it's easy to be like, hey, you're going to be a host on the stage. But and if you're trying to think, okay, they'll be good in a small group, well, being a host on the stage might not be the best thing for them. But maybe you're looking for maybe a large group storyteller or something like that. And that may be a good opportunity to kind of showcase them on the stage and say, hey, let me just see how you do with this. And that could be really, really good way to kind of get them plugged in. And always, this is one of the things I really like about the Grow events is tell them exactly what they're getting their idea in. Like, this is your job description. It's like, you are going to be a greeter, and here's your 1-sentence summary of what you're going to do. Don't say, we're all guilty of this. Like, hey, Kegan, I'd like to help out that event. Okay, great. Just show up and I'll find something for you to do. That's not good. That's not helpful, because then you end up not having something for them to do because you've already done it all.
Or they might not show up because they're like,
exactly.
I don't have a specific job.
Yeah. So if you give them this, hey, I want you to do this, like, you're going to be the nurse. You're going to take care of every kid that has a skinned knee because we're going hard in this game or whatever.
That's going to happen.
Just let them know exactly what their role is, and then that's how you have all your pieces come together and things look really well polished and well
Make
done.
sure the expectations are clear. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great, man. Well, Kegan, this has been just such great information, man, for something that I think a lot of people, this is like the least fun thing that we have to do maybe in KidsMin is asking parents to be volunteers.
100%.
But the way you broke it down and the way you kind of shared some tricks of the trade, maybe that you didn't want to share, but you shared it anyway, so everyone knows now, it can be a whole lot easier, I think, for people to do this, or at least have a starting point for how to enter into this kind of difficult thing to do. So thank you very much, Kegan.
Yes.
Anything else you want to talk about before we let you go?
Yeah, if you're looking at, like I mentioned earlier, with open house or like parent workshops and things to be able to showcase your ministry, like Grow, we really do. Our company does a great job with those kind of resources. And that's where I get all my stuff, like events. If you go back, I've been using Grow for about 8 or 9 years. And even when I came on board as a strategist, like, Kegan's one of the OG Grow users. And so, I was all the way back at like volume 2. And so, but really a lot of those tools, and even with the Grow Marketplace, there's a lot of opportunities to kind of just go in and snag those things. Maybe it's an open house, maybe it's a parent volunteer handbook, those kind of things that really can help you get some kind of words and framework to your vision. Sometimes we know what we're doing up here in our heads, but we don't really know how to get it out into words, like on paper and things. And so a lot of those tools really do a good job giving you some framework and things to kind of work with, and then take it from there and run with it, which is really, really cool. So check out those things. And then, anytime you like to holler at me too, it's just Kegan DeWitt. You can find me on Facebook. I'm in the Stuff You Can Use groups. So you can talk to the live chat on the website, and they'll get you to me too as well. I'm pretty accessible.
Many ways to Kegan.
Yes, I'm always available. They're like, we joke around like, so-and-so might have your phone number. I was like, they probably already do. Like, it's fine. Like, I like to help people. That's how I'm wired. And so I love talking all this stuff because it helps me sharpen up our ministry just as well as it does help somebody else out. And so it's really cool to be able to kind of teach what you know. And even if you don't know it well, as you teach it, you kind of figure out like where it might be confusing. And so that's helpful too, to kind of just clarify things as a whole. So holler at me anytime.
Yeah.
Love that. Thank you so much for being here, Kegan. This was so much fun and so helpful. And I know there are a lot of directors out there who are going to be a little less apprehensive about approaching parent volunteers.
Yeah,
now.
You can do it. You can do it. I promise.
You can do it. We believe in you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Kegan. You're a rock star in so many ways. A rock star advocate for Grow, for sure, but also a rock star at church softball. I know that too. And when you hear...
we'll sell you a jersey if you want one.
Stuff, he will give you a jersey for his church softball team. But also when you hear Kegan share stuff, just know he is in the weeds every week with y'all, doing exactly what you're doing. So he's giving you some real life experience to everything that he says. So Kegan, thanks so much for being with us, man. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Kegan.
Well, what a great conversation with Kegan.
Yeah, so good.
So many good tips.
Kegan has really done it all, and he still somehow remains so excited, and it's so fun to see his energy and how passionate he is about ministry. It's so great.
You need to get to know Kegan if you don't yet. I think everyone who knows him knows. The guy is always doing it, always involved in ministry, and wants to share all the stuff that he's learned.
That conversation shows one thing that was kind of like an undertone, but we didn't really say explicitly, which is like that relationship is really important, like building that relationship with parents from the get-go, and fostering that and continuing to build on that is something that's going to sustain you, so that when you ask people, it's not like, who are you again? Right? I mean, I guess it helps that he does ministry in his hometown, but still, it's something that we can work on.
Yeah, for sure. So all great information. Thanks so much to Kegan for that. So with that, Linda, we are going to get into the segment that everyone waits for.
Everybody.
When they listen to KMA. Nobody turns it off at this point. Nobody does. They all wait to hear what we are into. So Linda, what are you into these days?
All right, Jason, I am currently into Percy Jackson Season 2.
Me too.
Okay, awesome. I love this show, and I love what they did with it. I think the casting is incredible. They picked some really great actors for all of these characters. And, you know, you always have that debate, like, is a book better? Is a show better? But I think they did such a good job of staying faithful to kind of the arc of the book. And when they do deviate from the book and they introduce new things, it's very purposeful and it's there to really amplify the plot or to make it more understandable for people who haven't really invested in all 20,000 books in the Rick Riordan verse. And so it's really fun. I really have only gotten through one episode so far, but I'm in. I can't wait for the others.
Yeah. So you read the books first and now you're watching the shows.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. And then I reread them once my kids started reading them.
Okay.
Yeah, so, it started out with like, let me make sure that this is appropriate for you to like, oh, I'm just going to read all the way through Trials of Apollo.
Okay, all right. So we're coming from the opposite angle. We are watching the show and I'm watching it with my 11-year-old son. And it's actually making us want to read the books.
Okay.
So we're coming at it from the other side.
I really like the philosophy that Rick Riordan had when he created the books.
Yeah.
And I also love that the tone is so easy for kids and it's just entertaining. I'm like, oh, these are interesting histories and mythologies for kids, but it's done in a way that's really accessible to kids. And I love it.
Yeah. I think it's really cool too. So what I am into these days, I'm actually reading a new book, which is few and far between for me. But it's A Snake Falls to Earth by Darcy Little Badger. Okay. Have you ever read this book, Linda?
I have not, but I have to say the author's name sounds like the title of the book.
Yeah. So, very cool book. And you and I both love like animals and talking animals.
We sure do.
I won't do any spoilers just in case you check it out. But this kind of puts those things together, which is really great.
Is it like a fable or is it just a story?
So I'm not like deep into it yet, but it's like like sharing the stories of a family.
Okay.
Through one person. Are these stories fiction or are they fact? You don't know. You know, they're just these fantastical stories that may or may not have happened.
Oh, that's fun.
And they may or may not include people that can transform into animals and talk, which is like, you know, all you need to know.
Yes. You got me. I'm sold. I'm in.
I think a lot of people would be sold just for that. But it is a very well-written book and very cool. So that's what I'm into.
Wonderful. Can't wait to check it out.
Well, thank you, Linda, for hanging out with me once again.
Thank you, Jason. This is always a pleasure.
In the world. And thank you to our listeners out there. Thank you for listening. And to our question asker, Katie, for raising such a great question.
Yes, Katie, thank you for that question.
Yep. And of course, again, thank you to Kegan for sharing all the wisdom that he shared today. You can find the resources that Kegan mentioned at growcurriculum.org. And if you have a ministry question that you want us to talk about here at KMA, you can send a voice message to KMA.show.
Yeah, do it.
So again, thank you so much for joining us. It's been so awesome. And we will see you all next time.
See you next time. Bye.